Welcome back to the final Daily-O episode of the semester, sponsored by Firo Pizza. I'm Asa Lucas. Thank you for joining us this evening. Former Minneapolis officer Derek Chauvin was convicted of murder and manslaughter Tuesday of the murder of George Floyd. Chauvin pinned down Floyd to the pavement with his knee in 2020 while Floyd said, "I can't breathe." The verdict was guilty as charged on all counts. Guilty of second-degree unintentional murder, third-degree murder, and second-degree manslaughter with no bail. The sentencing will be in 2 months with the time up to 40 years in prison. President Joe Biden said the verdict was, quote, "a murder in full light of day," and it ripped the blinders off for the world, end quote. In some news closer to home, Oklahoma has passed a law that can protect drivers who run over protesters. Oklahoma Governor Kevin Stitt signed a bill Wednesday granting immunity to drivers who unintentionally injure or kill protesters. The bill makes it a misdemeanor, punishable by up to a year in prison and a $5,000 fine for obstruction of a public street during the course of a protest. The Ferguson College of Agriculture broke ground on their new building today. The Daily-O's Connor Bergen has more on the story for us now.
What looks to be an empty parking lot will soon change, as the Ferguson College of Agriculture will look to be a thing of the past, with today marking the groundbreaking of the new Frontier Agricultural Hall that is set to open in 2023. This $50 million project is the latest of recent renovations OSU has undergone within the past decade. Notable members at today's press conference was U.S. Congressman Frank Lucas, OSU's Athletic Director Mike Holder, former OSU President James Galligan, and OSU President Designee Dr. Casey Shrum. Frank Lucas and Burns Hargis both shared their excitement today for the progress OSU continues to make.
Well, this pandemic has slowed down a lot of things over the past year, but what it has not slowed down was the momentum for the new agricultural hall. This is a special facility that's going to make a huge difference, and I don't think any college has more dedicated alumni than the Ferguson College of Agriculture.
So dedicating a new ag building, that's just a step in continuing the wondrous things that have happened at Oklahoma State since 1890 and the wondrous things that the land-grant university systems have created since 1862.
One of the more notable additions to the Frontier Hall will be bringing back an old favorite for OSU alumni, the Dairy Bar. With the new menu being brought to the stage by Pistol Pete, the Dairy Bar will have something all cowboys will enjoy, ranging from milkshakes, coffee, cinnamon rolls, and even grilled cheese.
This entire building has been constructed with the idea of faculty, student, and staff, as engineers have given out multiple surveys to be able to get a better vision for what is yet to come in the future. Reporting at the new Frontier Agricultural Hall, and for the Daily-O, I'm Connor Bergen.
Thank you, Connor. For more information about the project OK Agriculture at OSU, you can head up to the okagriculture.okstate.edu. Next week is the beginning of pre-finals week at OSU. To view the finals schedule, you can visit registrar.okstate.edu and find what times the finals are set for the spring 2021 semester. If you have any other questions, the registrar's website will be the place to look for help. To study for your finals, and it can help make appointments at the Lasso Center where you can get tutoring sessions, find SI sessions, and even success coaching. You can make appointments and learn more at universitycollege.okstate.edu/lasso. There are also study resources available through the Edmund Lowe Library and the Writing Center on campus. Up next, Dylan Walker catches us up on all things entertainment news.
Happy Friday, everyone. Welcome back to another episode of The Spill with Dill. This week has been totally crazy, especially in the entertainment world. So let's get started. Now that TikTok drama has officially taken over social media, it's moving on to TV. The famous Hype House has just landed a reality TV show contract with Netflix, announced this past Thursday. House members include Cover Annan, Nikita Dragon, Sienna Mae Gomez, Chase Hudson or Lil Huddy, Laurie Merritt, Thomas Petro, Alex Warren, and Jack Wright. The group all moved into the Hype House in late 2019 and became pretty popular right off the bat. Although the show is currently unnamed, it will showcase the lives to viewers and also hopes to show a side of their relationships that is kept pretty private. The release date has yet to be announced, but I'm sure its ratings will be through the roof. In other TV news, Jeopardy announced its final group of guest hosts this past Wednesday. For the show's 37th season, the final group is made up of LeVar Burton, George Stephanopoulos, Robin Roberts, David Farber, and Joe Buck. Burton went to social media to express his excitement for the opportunity. In a tweet, he said, quote, "Thank you all for your passionate support. I am overjoyed and eager to be guest hosting Jeopardy and will do my utmost best to live up to your faith in me." End quote. Ever since the passing of Alex Trebek, there have been a series of guest hosts coming on the show to see who will be the next permanent host. Country singer Jana Kramer filed for a divorce from Mike Cousin. The news was shared through an emotional social media post on Wednesday from Kramer's account. It talked about how after 6 years of marriage, she can just no longer do it. The post reads, quote, "It's time. I've fought, I've loved hard, I've forgiven, I put the work in, I've given everything I have, and now I have nothing else to give. Please know I still believe wholeheartedly in marriage. I just can't fight any longer." End quote. A source has told People reporters that the focus of the two is now on the children rather than their own personal problems. And finally, to close out today's show, let's talk about some celebrity birthdays. On Monday, Lauren Green, James Franco, Joanna Gaines, and Kate Hudson all celebrated another trip around the sun. Celebrities who had birthdays this past Tuesday include Shamar Moore, Gigi Gorgeous, Tan France, and on Wednesday, Queen Elizabeth, James McAvoy, Robbie Amell, and Tony Romo all celebrated their special day. On Thursday, Machine Gun Kelly and Jeffrey Dean Morgan turned another year older. Today, we celebrate the birthdays of Gigi Hadid, John Cena, William Shakespeare, and George Lopez. That's all the tea I have for you today, folks. Have a great weekend, and I'll see you all next Friday.
Thank you, Dylan. Up next, we'll take a quick break, and then we'll be back with a weather update from Josh Weisel. For the Daily-O, I'm Asa Lucas.
Tired of paying for parking at those other airports? Fly Stillwater Regional Airport. We offer proximity, free parking, and short security lines. Still making long drives to Oklahoma City or Tulsa just for the airport? Stay close to home and fly with Stillwater Regional Airport. Daily nonstop flights to DFW with 800 plus flight connections in 29 countries.
Oh hey, I'm sorry I didn't see you there. I'm not sure if you knew, but the Ocali has been doing big things this past year. Let me give you the rundown. Ocali TV had over 100,000 views in 2020. And listen, the traffic on the Ocali website is mind-blowing. Ocali.com had 1.5 million page views in 2020. But wait, there's more. I know you guys love social media, being that you're young and all, so I'm gonna let you in on some stats I recently got my hands on. The Ocali's Twitter has 19,000 followers, and its Facebook 10,000 followers, and it's only growing. The eCollie even has 2,200 followers. Crazy, right? I'm thinking with those stats, the only option left is for you to join in on the fun. Come join the cool kids. They're all probably looking at something on the Ocali right now anyways. Okay, that's all I have for you. The Ocali, fighting fake news since 1895.
All right, welcome back, folks. I'm Joshua Weisel here in the makeshift Ocali Storm Studios. We have a lot to talk about because it's already been a crazy weather day, and it's just going to get a little bit crazier as we head into this evening. Stay weather alert. Make sure that you have a way to receive warnings, and make sure that you tune in to any alerts if they're issued, and have a way to receive those warnings. And you can also check live radar updates throughout the rest of the evening as we have the threat of storms through at least 1 a.m. tonight. Taking a look at the evening and overnight forecast, shower and storm chances will increase by around 11 p.m. to about midnight as the widespread event of showers and storms looks to be likely around that time. Scattered thunderstorms occurring right about now through the next couple of hours will eventually turn into what looks like a solid line. So we're going to see a threat from damaging winds, large hail, and an isolated tornado to more of a primary damaging wind threat as that becomes more of a line. And also an embedded tornado threat with that as well cannot be ruled out. So like I said, stay weather alert the next couple of hours. We do have a threat for severe weather, and we're keeping a very close eye on that. Before we get into the rest of the severe weather threat, here's a look at tomorrow afternoon and evening. Beautiful conditions, mostly sunny skies, a high of 70 for Stillwater and the Oklahoma City Metroplex, high of 67 in Tulsa. And now here's a look at the severe weather risk today. We are currently at a 2 out of 5 in the yellow. It's a slight risk for some showers and storms. Now we're talking a threat of damaging winds between 60 and 80 miles an hour, depending on the time and the storm. The higher winds are more likely once this becomes more of a solid line. Hail anywhere from quarter to baseball sized is also possible. The bigger hail threat looks to be further to the south near the Oklahoma City area, where we do have that 3 out of 5 orange enhanced risk. We also cannot rule out maybe an isolated tornado or two with some storms across the region. It's not guaranteed that Stillwater is going to get any of this, but because there is a threat, we have to stay alert. So like I said, have a way to receive warnings, stay weather alert, keep up with the radar, and make sure that you're weather alert this afternoon and evening, just because we do have this threat, and it's just something to be aware of. But overall, like I said, not everyone's going to see this, but once we see the storms kind of turn into a line, there is a higher likelihood that we could see maybe some damaging winds later on this evening as that system pushes through. So moving on, here's a look at the severe weather risk overall. Like I said, tornado threat, it is overall pretty low for our area, so I'm putting that at isolated. Golf ball to baseball size is going to be the max sized hail. Not everyone's going to see this, but it's just the highest hail that could be produced with the very strongest storms, and it's something to keep an eye on. 60 to around 80 mile an hour winds are possible with the strongest storms as well. So this is the overall threat. Flooding is also low. So like I said, stay weather alert this evening. You'll be fine. To ease any fears, as long as you have a way to receive warnings and a plan, you'll be just fine. Like I said, stay weather alert and make sure that you're keeping an eye on the radar as we head over the next couple of hours. But besides today, the good news is as we head into the rest of the weekend, beautiful conditions Saturday, Sunday, Monday, mostly sunny skies, highs in the 80s as we head into next week. Next weather alert day looks to be Tuesday. There's still some uncertainty with this system. We're keeping a very close eye on it. Like I said, uncertainties. We're going to get more information as we head into next week. Stay tuned for that forecast update. I'll have the latest as we head into next week. Overall, rain chances Tuesday, Wednesday, and then as we head into next weekend, 10-day forecast calls for beautiful conditions once again next weekend. Highs in the upper 70s and 80s, mostly sunny skies. So this is a quick look at your forecast. Like I said, it was a lot to talk about. Stay weather alert the next couple of hours. But in the meantime, tune in for sports coming up right after this.
Oh, there you go. Superstar.
The end of the practice is when we do all of our, intensity drills.
Okay.
She was going at it.
Stop. If we get them to Detroit by, let's say Monday the 15th. Time's right there. There we go. Yeah. Just, you can't.
Don't want to talk about it.
When you see the water tower, you're going to make a right.
If we win this, is the one way to get to the playoffs. I know.
Welcome back to the Daily O, everybody. I'm Connor Bergen, and folks, Let's get right into the last sports section of the semester. The Oklahoma State baseball team was in action this week for a midweek series against Arkansas Pine Bluff. The first game was off the walls insane as the Pokes unloaded 28 runs on UAPB in a box score many would think to see from the football team, quite frankly. The Pokes scored the most runs ever under head coach Josh Holliday with those 28. The previous high was 24, which was from a game against OU back in 2015. Catcher Max Hewitt had a career night going 3 for 4 with a career high 7 RBIs. He was just one of 9 Cowboys who registered more than 1 RBI on the day. The Cowboys tallied 15 hits and had a staggering 18 walks taken as well. Also, just the pitching for OSU was just as good as CJ Varela tossed 5 shutout innings, only giving up 2 hits. The final, once again, 28-0. The next night was not as high as the first game, but still a solid performance as the Pokes they flashed the bats against winning a game 12-2 and sweeping the series. Next up for the Cowboys is a 3-game series against the Texas Longhorns, starting tonight, weather permitting, at 6 p.m. right here in Stillwater. The baseball season as a whole is on the wind down as the Pokes have 5 series remaining on the year, with the Texas first, then OU, a trip to play Kansas, a series against Baylor, before closing the regular season against the University of New Orleans. The Big 12 Championship Series is set May 26th through the 30th, with the NCAA playoffs beginning this summer, culminating with the College World Series in June. As for the OSU softball, they were also in action this week when they hosted UT Arlington on Wednesday. Logan Smenak pitched 4 innings to get the win, with Kelly Maxwell and Carrie Eberly coming on late to close out the game. Some of the runs were provided by Kylie Naomi and Allison February, who both homered. The Cowgirls rolled to the 9-3 win, moving the record to an outstanding 36-5, with their win streak now sitting at 12 games. The Cowgirls season is also coming to a close with series against Texas and OU on the horizon. The Big 12 tournament is set for May 14th through May 15th, with the NCAA tournament beginning later in May. It is almost time for the return of Oklahoma State football here in Stillwater. The spring game is tomorrow in Boone Pickens. Get out and watch the team as they warm up for what should be an exciting fall. The Oklahoma City Thunder are in the midst of a rough stretch of games, with their last win coming back in March. Wednesday, they were in action against the Indiana Pacers. The Thunder are still without Shai Gilgeous-Alexander and have continued to floor the youngest starting rotation in all of the NBA. The Pacers were without 7 players Wednesday and were forced to take a small ball approach, with the likes of Domantas Sabonis and Miles Turner being out. All things worked out for Indiana as they pushed the pace and played scrappy to push the young Thunder team to its limits. Malcolm Brogdon dropped in 29 points, collected 15 rebounds, and dished out 7 assists. Pacers' Karis LeVert also helped by adding in 28 points. The Thunder's highest scorer was Darius Baisley, who scored 26, but it wasn't enough as the Pacers picked up the win 122-116. Next up for the Thunder is a rematch of Monday's contest against the Washington Wizards. The Wizards are looking to extend their win streak to 7 as the Thunder look to finally break the losing streak. In a turn of events from the past week, the reported European Super League is now on its last limbs after announcing the 12-team competition this past Sunday. After the news broke, the sports world erupted with a unified stance that the league is bad for the sport and calls were made to immediately shut down. Less than 48 hours after the initial time, to start over, Chelsea and Manchester City were the first 2 to leave the plane, to leave in the league's division. The rest of the big 6 in England would follow suit and leave following the pleas on social media and the huge crowds of fans protesting outside of the team's stadiums. Once again, I do apologize. Real Madrid's team's president, Florentino Perez, who is the leader of the breakaway league, said that his league is not dead and that it is merely on standby. For now, the league is technically still alive, but with no support from teams, the league is surely to be doomed. In some somber news that broke last night, former Kentucky star and top NBA prospect Terence Clark was involved in a fatal car accident while traveling home from a workout in Los Angeles. LAPD Sergeant John Mastasa described the scene as a solo-occupied vehicle that was traveling at a high rate of speed ran a red light, causing the car to strike another vehicle before coming to rest by hitting a block wall. Kentucky head coach John Calipari said, quote, "I am absolutely gutted and sick tonight. A young person who we all love has just lost his life too soon. One with all of his dreams and hopes ahead of him," end quote. The news of Clark's death was met with shock and sadness across the basketball community. Clark, who grew up in Boston, had already grown to have relationships with Boston Celtics players, and it really hit home for those players with Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown sharing thoughts on social media last night. Clark was expected to be considered a lottery selection in the upcoming draft and had just signed an agent on Wednesday. Clark was just 19 years old. Before we let you go, let's run through some headlines from around the sports world. The Kansas City Chiefs are trading multiple picks, including their first-round pick for the next Thursday, to the Baltimore Ravens for offensive lineman Orlando Brown Jr. The Chiefs now have acquired Brown, Joe Thuney, Kyle Long, and Austin Blythe to now field an almost competitively new offensive line for their star Patrick Mahomes to work behind. Simone Biles has announced that she has left Nike to sign with Athleta, a smaller activewear brand that is focused on women. And tomorrow night is UFC 261, which boasts 3 title fights headlined by a welterweight rematch between the champion Kamaru Usman and Jorge Masvidal. Thank you for tuning in to the final episode of the Daily O this semester. You can follow us on social media at @TheDailyO_TV. You can also watch our show on Amazon Fire Stick, Apple TV, Roku, and of course on Suddenlink Channel 112. We'll see you back here next semester. And for the Daily O, I'm Connor Bergen. Go Pokes.
The Daily O is brought to you by Firo's Fire-Kissed Pizza.